handle this. Oh my god. The C dash with Nitro Crystal, true. Transcendence is a wonderful new mod that's out for Hollow Knight now. It adds 14 new charms to the game in addition to the 40 that were already in the base game. It's got brand new hidden locations for these charms, and it's compatible with the Randomizer mod. It was released just a couple of weeks ago by its creator Pimpus Pimpinella, and it's already taking hold in the Randomizer and speedrunning community. This mod can offer a breath of fresh air to your Hollow Knight playthroughs, with or without additional mods active. It introduces some powerful and interesting charm combos that are sometimes a little questionably balanced. Transcendence adds these 14 charms to the game. Those charms all come with new locations if you're not playing with the Randomizer mod active. The total number of charm notches stays at 11, and the total number of charms gets increased to 54. That means you can achieve 126% completion with this mod active. So nothing is taken away or changed from the base game, it's just added to. Despite its small footprint, Transcendence offers ways to drastically change how the game is played. You might even say it transcends normal game. Almost every benefit comes with an additional trade-off, which makes for interesting choices when you're constructing your build. Now, most of these trade-offs center around your geo count, whether that's just a pure cost to the abilities or something like the number of relics that you're holding. This can make for some interesting choices early in runs when you don't have a lot of money, and make for some very powerful builds late in runs when you do. Why was it huge? Wait, hold on. Why is it so big? Now, I want to walk you through what each of these charms does and where you can find them. If you're looking for a specific charm, I've put timestamps in the description below, as well as a timestamp for when this section ends. Keep in mind, these locations are hidden locations, so if you'd like to find them yourself, you might want to skip over this section. Alright, so let's get started with some of the sequence-breaking charms this mod has to offer. First up, we have the Antigravity Amulet, and you can probably tell from the name how this one might be just a little bit game-breaking. The Antigrav Amulet can be found on a hidden ledge outside of Crystallized Mound, and it only costs 2 charm notches in the vanilla game. The way this charm works is by lowering the gravity effect on the knight. That means simple jumps can send you soaring, and pogos or wings jumps do the same. This charm makes quite a lot of jumps that would otherwise not be possible easy to do with no movement abilities at all. If you find this one early in a randomizer run, you're in luck. Next up, we have probably the most powerful movement charm, and that is Bluemoth Wings. Part of what makes this charm so powerful is its vanilla location. You can find it in this hidden alcove in Green Path very early on in the game. You can get it even before you have dash. This charm gives you the ability to jump as often as you want in the air with a catch. Every jump costs you 10 geo. As you can imagine, if you've got the money to bankroll this charm, then you can break the game wide open. This charm is fantastic for modded runs of the game because of how early you can get it. The icing on the cake? It only costs 2 notches. Next up, we're pivoting to some combat charms, and boy are we starting with a powerful one. This charm can be found in an alcove above the City of Tears fountain, and it costs 3 charm notches. This charm is called Lemm's Strength, and the way it works is by adding +1 to your nail damage for every relic you're holding. Now, that might not sound like a lot at first, but keep in mind, your base nail does 5 damage, and pure nail only does 21. There are 43 total relics in the game, so this can more than triple your nail damage. Oh my god, dude. This charm is most useful in late game builds, and it finally gives a bit of justification to all that relic hoarding I did in my casual playthrough. The trade-off with this charm is that you can't sell those relics to Lemm anymore, so it makes geo collection a bit more tenuous. But I promise you, it's worth it. Hold on to those relics. Next up, we have what is the most powerful charm in the mod, and that is Florist Blessing. This charm is one of the sharpest double-edged swords in the mod. Harkening to its namesake, this charm comes with a certain level of delicacy that makes even the most experienced runners quiver. If you take even a single hit of damage, that charm will break. But with high risk comes high reward. As long as this charm is active, it triples your nail damage. Even better, this applies after all other effects. Quick math aside, if we've got Florist Blessing on top of Unbreakable Strength and Lemm Strength with all 43 relics, and we're using Pure Nail, we get up to 288 damage. Now, this mod isn't all about nail damage. Next up, we have a handful of charms that will help you spell users out there. First up, we have a charm for all you spell purists. That is the Snail Slash. This charm costs 3 notches, which is a bit cheaper than Soul Eater. It can be found at the secret Seal of Binding inside Weaver's Den in Deep Nest. Snail Slash will double your soul generation, but comes with a pretty significant downside. Your nail damage will be reduced to just 1, regardless of what other charms you have equipped. Now, if you're thinking, well, I don't use my nail that much anyway, let me introduce you to enemies I didn't know had more than 1 HP. Is this more? They don't die! They don't die! Oh god! Oh, they don't die! Zero notch cost. Oh! They don't die! The bellflies don't die when you hit them with your weak fucking noodle weapon. The next spell-based charm I want to talk about is one that really makes spell builds much more powerful, and that is Snail Soul. On the face of it, this charm doesn't sound crazy. It slows your fireballs down to 1/4 their original speed. Why is that useful? Well, when fireballs are moving that slowly, they can hit enemies multiple times. Oh, that's good. Overall, this charm greatly improves spell builds, and it's a must for all you spell lovers out there. You can pick it up at the Mr. Mushroom location outside of Overgrown Mound, and it only costs 2 notches. Last up for the spell build charms is probably the most fun of the bunch, Shaman Amp. You can pick this one up next to Fluke Hermit near the Junk Pit, but it'll come with a pretty steep cost of 4 notches. This charm gets ridiculous. It increases the size of your spells according to how much money you have, and these spells get huge. For early game builds, this charm isn't going to do much for you, but when you get to late game with over 10,000 Geo, well...
I forgot the whole point! Get out of here.
This charm is just good old-fashioned fun, no matter how you slice it, and it really brings home the spell build. With all of these charms together, you can really demolish bosses. Now let's pivot to some of the movement charms that don't change what you can access, but definitely change the way the game plays. First, we have a personal favorite, the Nitro Crystal. This charm turns your Crystal Heart ability into an absolute rocket, zooming across rooms at unbelievable speeds. Not content with just making your super dash faster though, this also greatly increases the damage dealt by Crystal Heart. That means that you can just zoom right on through enemies that would otherwise normally stop your C-Dash, and boy is it fun. You can pick this one up next to Quirrell in Crystal Peak, but it'll cost you 4 notches if you really want to use it. Another great, or maybe terrible movement charm depending on your perspective, is the Crystalmaster charm. Crystalmaster increases your walking speed proportional to how much Geo you have. This effect seems to scale indefinitely. You can pick up Crystalmaster on your way up to the Hallownest Crown inside a secret room. It'll cost you only 2 notches to equip. In exchange for this crazy movement speed, you'll have to pay 1% of your total Geo count every 5 seconds. Don't keep this charm equipped for too long or you might find yourself bankrupt. This charm's a double-edged sword in more ways than just that though. At speeds like this, it becomes incredibly hard to control the knight, but the fun you'll have will more than make up for the trouble.
What? Oh, I'm very fast. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I do not like this.
Now, I've been telling you about a bunch of charms that take away Geo or scale with Geo. You might start thinking that Geo will be hard to come by with this mod. Luckily, Pimpus included a couple of charms to help out with that, so let's talk about those next. The first of these is a small but fun charm called Greedsong. It can be found at the hidden alcove above the collector, and it only costs 1 notch. Based on the idea behind Grub Song, this charm rewards you with a small amount of Geo every time you're hit. The exact amount you get is between 2 and 30 Geo, and it's completely random. run. It's not going to completely break the bank, but it'll take the edge off some of those hits you're taking. If you're really strapped for cash though, I've got a charm that will fix that right up. It's called Millibelle's Blessing. You can pick up Millibelle's Blessing right next to Millibelle, the banker in Fog Canyon. It only costs 2 notches, which makes this pretty viable for early in runs. The way this charm works is by granting you a small amount of geo every 5 seconds. Another quick math aside, this charm scales logarithmically, so if you've got around 100 geo or something on that order, you're getting about 5 per second, and if you get up to 10,000, you end up with about 11 or 12 a second. So it scales slowly, but still does increase. At pretty much any level, this is absolutely free money, and you'll find it adds up quick. If you keep this charm equipped while you're exploring around Hallownest, you'll find yourself with enough geo to do stuff like this. Next up, we've got a couple of fun charms that add a little something unique to this mod. The first of these is the Marissa's Audience charm. What this charm does is it doubles the number of minions you get out of Glowing Womb and Weaver Song. Pimpus wasn't able to get us a second Grimchild. The name comes from probably the best thing to do with this mod, which is to sit down with a full minion build and listen to Marissa sing. If you really love minion builds, you'll get some great use out of this charm, as especially doubling the number of weavers is very helpful. Mostly this charm is just a fun novelty though, and it's especially nice if you're trying out a new custom night skin. You can pick up Marissa's Audience in the Pleasure House near where Marissa sings. It's found at the Hidden Ghost there, but it'll cost you a pretty pricey 4 notches. The penultimate charm on this list is a really fun one that offers something really unique to this mod. This charm can be found at the Lifeblood Cocoon in Kingdom's Edge, and it only costs 1 notch. It's the Disinfectant Flask, and what it does is it removes infection from everywhere in the game. Mostly this is useful if you've got infected crossroads and you would rather not deal with it, especially early in a rando. But this charm adds a really unique twist to this mod. There are some rooms in the game that you can't normally access uninfected, like the Glowing Womb room or Ancient Basin. This mod removes infection from those areas too, and gives a really unique look at some of them. Try this one out yourself if you'd like to see how that looks. Alright, last but certainly not least, we've got probably the most fun charm of the bunch, and that is the Chaos Orb. You can pick up the Chaos Orb at Bardoon's Butt in Kingdom's Edge, and it costs just 2 notches. The Chaos Orb lives up to its name and makes your runs complete chaos. What it does is it applies the effect of 3 random charms from the full pool of charms. But which 3 charms it chooses changes every 30 seconds. Especially with some of the new Transcendence charms, this can lead to absolute chaos when you suddenly find Crystalmaster or Antigravity Amulet equipped. This is probably my favorite of the bunch, and it pairs extremely well with the Randomizer mod for the maximum chaos possible.
What? What is happening? What? Anti-gravity amulet.
Alright, so that wraps up my description of all the charms offered by this mod, so welcome back to anyone who is skipping that section. Now I want to talk a little bit about how it works with the randomizer and how it can be used for speedrunning too. Originally, this mod was designed with the randomizer in mind, and the rando community has really jumped on it. So how do you get this mod in your rando runs? Well, it's pretty simple. Just download the mod on Scarab, which you can find the link for in the description below, and once you've got that mod installed, go into your randomizer settings and click the Connections button here. Inside of this Connections tab, you just want to make sure Add Charms is highlighted and you should be good to go. Now, when these charms are randomized, they're just shuffled into the total item pool, so we won't have the new locations that I showcased earlier. By default, the charm notch costs of these charms are also randomized, which makes for some interesting build choices. Personally, I think that Rando's the best home for this mod. It's the one that I and most other Hollow Knight runners have been trying it out in, especially with the Antigravity Amulet and Bluemoth Wings that can lead to interesting new sequence breaks for rando. This can be a lot of fun. But of course, you don't need to have the randomizer mod active to play this mod. In fact, playing with an otherwise vanilla game can lead to some really interesting speedrun possibilities for otherwise relatively content-starved modded speedrun boards. The early and accessible location of Bluemoth Wings leads to crazy sequence breaks for categories even like any %. And perhaps most interestingly, with a charm like the Florist Blessing, there's a really high skill ceiling on these runs. It may be optimal to do the entire run hitless to get that additional nail damage. This mod could slot right into a number of different speedrun categories, from any percent to a new full completion category that gets 126%, all the way down to more obscure categories like maybe Marissa's audience. I'm interested to see if some of these categories could find a home on the modded boards for Hollow Knight. Alright, that just about wraps this video up. I hope you guys are interested in this mod, and if you'd like to download it, check out the links in the description below. I definitely recommend you give this mod a shot, especially if you're playing the randomizer. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will catch you next time.